Hi, Linda Sessions here, and we are going to talk about the Excel Module 1, Project 2, making changes to a travel worksheet with a chart. And I've already done this, and I've already uploaded a file, so my screen here in just a second is going to look a little different, but we're going to go over it, and I'm going to show you how to complete this and where you need to be careful and watch what you're doing. So here I've downloaded my instructions already, and I've got my starter file that I need to download. And you can see here it lets me know that I have already submitted some for grading, and I've opened up a new file here, assignment file here in Cengage, and I can submit more than one copy of my file, so I can open that, but you need to open up a new assignment every time you do that. So I'm going to make this half of my monitor size, and again you do that by going up on your program, in your Microsoft Office program, or pretty much any program. In your maximum, you got your minimize, maximize, and close buttons. And on the maximize button, you have your choice. Where do you want it to appear on your monitor? And I'm putting mine side by side on my monitor so I can see both files. In my Excel document, I need to enable editing so I can make any changes. And now I have to move it back over again and change it. Now I'm going to go up to the File tab, and I'm going to save it. I'm going to do a Save As, because I need to change this name up here to where it only has a 2 after my name. So I'm going to hit Browse. I want it to save it in my computer class doc folder that I made in my documents. And this is in my File Explorer. I've got my documents folder, and then I have a folder for my class. And I'm going to come down here. I'm going to change that 1 to a 2. I'm going to keep that underscore. I'm going to hit Save. The one thing that's nice about creating that folder in Documents is that I always know where I'm saving my files for the class. And then I can go find them later when I'm ready to submit them, or if I need to close them and come back later and work on them, I can do that. Now we are told that we are working with a Martin Hernandez, and he wants us to help him complete his worksheet. And the first thing we need to do is go to the travel expenses. But you want to go to the documentation worksheet and make sure your name is listed there as the author. Now we're going to go to the travel expenses worksheet, and in B13, so we've got B13, we want to change this date to 5/3/2024. So we're going to get 5-3-2024. Now it's real tempting to enter 2025 because that's the year we're in, right? But you want to make sure it's 2024. It will count you off if you don't. We also want to come back up here, and because I didn't see, I missed this line right here. We want to merge the cells in range B2 through I2. So I'm going to put my mouse up in B2, and with my mouse, that white plus sign, I can click and drag over to I2 to select that range. Another way you can select a range is by coming up to the name box and selecting and entering B2:I2 and hit enter, and it will also select that range for you. Now we want to merge the cells. Right now, each one of these cells these are all individual cells. Up here in our alignment grouping, we have our merge cell option. If I click on this arrow right here, we can just merge across. And what this is going to do, it's going to merge all of the cells that we've selected and make them into one cell. So what it does is it just cleans up our worksheet. So now you can see when I select B2, how large B2 is. In B10 through I10, so again in my name box, I'm just going to enter in B10 through I-10 to make sure I enter the correct range. I want to make it the accent 3 cell styles. Now cell styles are pre-built in ways that you can format your cells to where they look nicer. And so if you notice here in cell styles, you have your custom, your good, bad, and neutral, date and model, titles and headings. We've got our number format down here, and then we've got themed cell styles. And when you move your mouse over them, you get a live preview of what that would do to your cells, so you can see what's going to be happening. We want to come down here and we want to choose accent 3. And it's just a way to make your worksheet look larger without a whole lot of work on your part. It's just automatically built in to do that for you. Now in C16, you can see we have retail conference, but we want them to know that this is a retail conference in Houston. So we want to come up here, and in my formula bar, I can click and put my insertion point right after the E, and then I can hit space in Houston and then hit enter. Make sure you put a space between the N and the H so that they know that this retail conference was actually in Houston. And then in D11, we also were missing the miles driven. So we need to make sure we have data there. So we're going to enter 65 for the miles driven. Now we need to figure out what our mileage expense actually is for our travel expense worksheet. So we need to tell Excel first that we're entering in a formula, because we're actually going to write our equation in. So we're going to hit equals first, and that lets Excel know we're entering in a formula here. And we're going to hit E11 times, which is shift 8, 0.55, which is our current mileage rate, and we have that right up here. Now there's another way that we could do that. We could have hit the I3, sorry, but remember when we copy information down, it would have changed that to then I4, I5, I6, and so we would have gotten some errors. So we would have had to have made this an absolute value. And you can do that. You make a cell addresses an absolute value by putting a $sign before the column heading and a $sign before the row number. And that would have made it an absolute value. But we're asked to just enter in 0.55 and then enter. And now we're going to take that formula that we just created in D11, and we're going to use our fill handle to copy it down to E16. So I'm going to move my mouse to the little corner here in the left-hand corner, the fill handle, and my mouse is going to change how it looks to that skinny plus sign, and I'm going to drag down to E16. Now it's created and copied that formula down for me. We have no idea of knowing what all these numbers represent. Does it represent yen, pesos, francs? Is it dollars? Well, we know it's dollars, but we want our people who are actually looking at these to know without a shadow of a doubt that we're referring to dollars. So we're going to apply the accounting number format to E11 to I16. So up here in my name box, I'm going to type in E11 colon I16 and hit enter. And you can see I've selected that whole range here. Up here in my number formatting area, I'm going to click on this little arrow, and I'm going to come down here to accounting, and it's going to put in $signs, and then anytime there was a 0, it's now a dash. You don't want to leave blank cells when you're dealing with an accounting worksheet, because that they don't know then, well, did you just not enter anything? So by putting a dash in, they know, well, there was no hotel involved in these. There was no meals involved here. In E17, we want to determine the sum. We want to add up E11 to E16. So we can do that by using the sum function. So up here in our editing area, I'm going to click on this down arrow, And right here in the auto sum, we have our sum, and that's going to automatically add up that range. We always want to make sure that the range it's selecting is the correct range. And if it isn't, you can just change and enter in the correct range within these parentheses. I'm going to select the check mark because that's okay. And then we're going to copy this formula over to I-17. So we're going to copy it over. So when we copied the formula down, it went from D, or from E to D, or it went from 11 to 12 to 13 to 14 because we copied it down, so the rows changed. When we copied it over from E to F to G to H, it automatically changed the columns. So it keeps everything relative when you're copying over or down. Now B21, we don't like this font. We want to change that font to Franklin Gothic Book Body. So I'm going to come up here, and if you come down here, I've got Franklin Body. Where'd you go? Franklin Gothic Book. I'm going to come back up here because it wants the body. So I've got theme fonts. I've got a heading, and I've got the body. And I want to make sure this is the body font right here in B21. And then in the next one here, I want to copy the value in cell C5 and paste it in D21. So I want to go to C5. I want my employee ID number. I'm going to come up here to my clipboard and click on the copy, or Control X is your keyboard. Then I'm going to come down here and select D21, and I'm going to paste, or the keyboard shortcut is Control V. They've already added a pie chart for us. And when they created this pie chart, if I click on the pie chart, I can see right away that they used the range E10 to H10 and E17 to H17. The way you select two adjacent cells or non-adjacent cells in Excel is by using the Control key. You select your first range, then hold down the Control key and select your second range. And that's how you select two non-adjacent cells. Then they added in a pie chart, and we want to change the style of this pie chart. So once we have that chart selected, then we can come up here and you can see we have some contextual tabs on our ribbon, the chart design and the format. Now if we click off of the chart, they go away. So we're not going to see those contextual tabs until we click on the chart. And we've got our chart design. Now select that, and right here in the middle are different chart styles. And these are styles that are already pre-built in, and all we got to do is just select the one we want, and it's going to update our chart. And you can see if I move my mouse over them, the changes, what it would look like. And we want to go over to style 8. Now moving on down on our instructions, here's what our final worksheet should look like, and we can kind of compare it to what we did. Remember, you don't want to just look and see, and I can see right away I did a cut, it didn't copy. So I'm going to come up here, and I've got my undo button, and I'm going to undo, and it undid. When you click the undo, it undoes the last thing you did. So it changed the chart, and then it took care of that cut and paste. I'm going to hit the escape key to get rid of my little cut thing there, and it wants to copy, and I did the cut. So to copy, you're going to come down here and select the copy feature, which is Control C. We want to copy. Then we want to come down here to D21. Now we want to paste, which is Control V, because we want it appearing in both areas. So one way you can look at your completed work and compare it to what your final figure should look like. And then I'm going to come back down to my pie chart because I need to change that chart design back to style 8. And now I hit the escape key to get rid of that running border there. And I can kind of just look over to see, does it match? It does. I'm going to click save. My autosave is already turned on. I'm going to close this file. Now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to find that file in my documents. And it's that one, project 2, open. And again, if the names don't match, it's not going to see it. And why isn't it letting me do it? There we go. We're an instantaneous society, aren't we? So it's submitted it, or it's accepted it. So now I need to submit it for a grade. And it's graded. And now I'm going to click on the graded summary and see what I did. And I did everything correctly. So that's how you change information in your travel worksheet. Again, if you did something incorrectly, open up your original file and you can go back and make changes to receive them, resubmit it for your maximum points possible. So that is how you do your travel expense worksheet. I'm Linda Sessions, and I hope you have a good day, and wherever you are, you've had some sunshine in your life today. Please like and follow for other YouTube videos that I might post, and if you have questions, just put them in the comments. I try to respond to them all. Thank you. Bye.